stride. 49er on the rail, seeking the gold on the outside. 16th of a mile to go. Noses apart. 49er and seeking the gold. Wow! Oh, what a finish!
And at the wire, it was 49er getting the nod in one of the closest Haskell finishes ever. The son of Mr. Prospector retired to stud duty at Claiborne Farm after his race career that featured earnings of more than $2 million. This year at the Keeneland July sales, 49er's first crop of yearlings averaged $321,000, making him the leading first crop sire.
This look back has been brought to you by Claiborne Farm, where for more than a century, a great record reflects our experience.
Look at the crowd here on Haskell Day, and in case you wondered, it was free cap day. Everybody in among the first 25,000 got these bright fluorescent orange caps, and they really stand out here on Haskell Day. Well, when we come back, we'll be going to Canada for coverage of our Woodbine Budweiser Breeders' Cup Special Stakes event. Stay tuned for that. And also, we want to tell you a bit about the variety of things to do here in the great state of New Jersey.
Beaches, mountains, rivers, lakes and streams, history past and present, fun and excitement, day and night. It's all right here in New Jersey.
The broad coverage of the Woodbine Budweiser Breeders' Cup. And you're looking at a live shot of historic Woodbine Racecourse there in Toronto, Canada, where we have a special stakes for you. The Budweiser Breeders' Cup Special Stakes, a series of 50 races at 41 different tracks around North America with some big added money for those Breeders' Cup eligible. In fact, we will be covering here on our Budweiser Racing Across America series 8 of these special stakes events for you. It'll include 6 graded events, all worth a purse of at least $150,000. Here are the conditions now for the Woodbine Budweiser Breeders' Cup Special Stakes. A Grade 2 Canadian event, $166,780 in the purse for those Breeders' Cup eligible. It'll be 3-year-old and up fillies and mares on the turf at 9 furlongs. Well, to find more about the event and about the field for this race in Canada, let's go here to our paddock at Monmouth and to Dave Johnson and Charles C. Canty.
And last year up in Canada, the winner of the race was Fieldy, trained by Tom Skippington and ridden by Eddie Maple. But, Charles, so many times when you're looking at the big races in Canada, you see at Sampson Farm and a horse trained by Jim Day.
Or if it isn't them, then it'll be the Kinghaven horses trained by Roger Adfield. But today the focus is on Ernie Samuel's Sampson Farm, with those horses trained by Jim Day. Now, they've won a number of Sovereigns Award. They just won their second Queen's Plate, the Kentucky Derby equivalent up there, with a filly. And 6 times this year, Dave, they've run an entry in a stakes race, and they finished first and second.
Well, a lot of folks think they're going to finish 1-2 today. They have a powerful entry. So let's take a look at the field in Canada for our live bonus coverage, the Woodbine Breeders' Cup. And we have Saved the Last Dance with Jack Lozon, coupled in the wagering with Radiant Ring. And Pat Day, who'll be inducted into Racing's Hall of Fame in Saratoga next month, will be in the irons. 2 for the price of 1 and 1 to 5 at this point. Green Noble, the 2-horse ridden by Steve Bayan, is at 9 to 1. Ben Didi with Daniel David at 14. Also in the contest, Perceptive Heiress and Mickey Walls, the red-hot apprentice up there, is in the irons and 10 to 1. One More Breeze with Todd Cable is at 20. Alexandrina with Larry Attard at 50 to 1. Cheerful Spree at 11 to 1 with Dave Pena. A field of 8 with 7 wagering interests. And it looks like that entry is going to be very tough.
Well, Radiant Ring is only a 3-year-old filly. She's beautifully bred, but she has only lost 1 race on the turf, and that was in the pucker-up when she got in some traffic trouble. When she got loose, she was flying at the finish, and she'll be the better half of the entry today.
She's won 4 stakes, and she's won 5 out of 6 on the turf. An interesting horse is, as they're moving into the gate up there, is Perceptive Heiress, who gets a lot of weight off in that red-hot apprentice, Mickey Walls. Chris?
All right, thank you much. The one you want to watch on the very outside, post position 7, is Radiant Ring. That's that, they call the darling of the division there up in Canada, and she really has been something, as Chelsea pointed out. There are 8 going, 7 betting interests. The favorite is the entry of Sampson Farm, Save the Last Dance, and Radiant Ring. Now let's go to Dan Loisel, who will call the Woodbine Budweiser Breeders' Cup Special Stake for us.
Post. They're off in the Woodbine Budweiser Breeders' Cup. Cheerful Spree, Alexandrina set out quickly early. On the outside, Radiant Ring, Perceptive Heiress. Up close early as well. Toward the hedge is Banditi as they continue that long run up the backstretch. On the outside, Alexandrina leads it by a head. Perceptiveris, Mickey Walls asks her for a tad more run. She comes on, takes the lead from Alexandrina. Green Noble is currently third. Radiant Ring relaxed nicely off the early pace in fourth. Cheerful Spree making up a bit of ground from fifth. Banditti is sixth. One More Breeze is second to last. And the early trailer is Save the Last Dance. About 5 furlongs to run. And Mickey Walls is nursing Perceptiveris on a 3/4 length advantage. Alexandrina's right at her flank. Green Noble is third. Cheerful Spree 4 lengths off the lead. Save the Last Dance. She makes up ground toward the hedge. Banditti 7 lengths off the lead. Then Radiant Ring and One More Breeze. They near the top of the stretch. It's Perceptiveris. She's joined once again by Alexandrina. Those two nose and nose inside the 3/8 pole. Green Noble is third. Save the Last Dance is fourth. One More Breeze. She begins to quicken. They've entered the stretch. They cross over the main track and onto the inside turf course. Alexandrina, Green Noble, One More Breeze is way out wide. Day finds room with Radiant Ring. She explodes between horses as they come to the 8th pole. And Radiant Ring has taken the lead. Green Noble, Alexandrina toward the hedge. One More Breeze on the far outside. Radiant Ring in the final 16th. Impressive here in winning the Woodbine Budweiser Breeders' Cup. Green Noble second, and One More Breeze was third.
Thank you, Dan. The favorite you see her galloping out there, the brilliant filly up in Canada, Radiant Ring, wins as expected under Pat Day, who will be inducted into Racing's Hall of Fame here in the United States, coming up in just a few weeks at Saratoga. The time, 1:46 for the 1 1/8 on the turf there for the Woodbine Budweiser Breeders' Cup. We'll be back to make this one official as you take a look at Radiant Ring crossing the finish line up in Canada. We'll be back here to Monmouth Park right after the break. And we welcome you back to Monmouth Park here on the Jersey Shore as you're taking a look at the finish, the Woodbine Budweiser Breeders' Cup. Pat Day working on the favorite Radiant Ring as she crosses the finish line first here in the Woodbine Budweiser Breeders' Cup stake unofficially, with Green Noble second, One More Breeze third. The time 1:46 for the 1 1/8 on the grass there in Canada. And Dave Johnson has a closer look at how this really nice filly did it with Pat Day.
Well, this was the scene of Secretariat's last race, the Marshall Turf Course, and as they turned for home, it was Perceptiveris carrying only 110 pounds in that red-hot apprentice Mickey Walls battling with Alexandrina. But watch on the outside, Pat Day wearing the white cap and Radiant Ring with the big white blaze, not eager to get the lead early, but this filly just pounces on the rest of the field. Now in pursuit is the big roan filly One More Breeze, and slipping through on the inside is going to be Green Noble, who will get the place spot. But through the lane, it is strictly Radiant Ring, trained by James Day, ridden by Pat Day, coupled in the wagering with Save the Last Dance. So it's Sampson Farms Radiant Ring, the winner, Green Noble second, and One More Breeze third, and the time only 3/5 off the track record. Chris?
They just made it official, the Woodbine Radiant Ring, returning 2:30, 2:10, 2:10. Green Noble running second, and One More Breeze at 2:10, 1:46 again the time. Trainer Jim Day and rider Pat Day for Samson Farm. Well, that's the story in Canada. Let's get back here to our friend here at Monmouth Park, and of course Hal Handel. You knew him as the general manager. Now he's been upgraded. He is now, listen to this, if I have this right, Executive Vice President of Racing for the New Jersey Sports and Exposition Authority. What's that mean, Hal?
You did that just the way we rehearsed it.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. It means I've got some jurisdiction over the Meadowlands and Monmouth Park now.
I know as a member of the TRA, both tracks are always concerned about community work and charity work. You had a unique one here recently.
Yeah, we had a fun event Thursday night. We had a road race for people and had over 1,000 runners, including Bill Rogers. And over the years now, this marriage between Monmouth Park and a charity fund has raised over $6.5 million for local charities. We're very proud of that.
Unofficially totaling up, they said there were more than 12,000 noticed the runners. Pay no attention to the one-way signs at all. It's great to open the facility, though. Everybody seemed to have a great time.
It's a nice event. A lot of families come out. We do a little band afterwards, and it's become a fixture this week.
Here's the veteran Bill Rogers, 4-time winner of the Boston Marathon. He won the event, going the 4 miles in 20 minutes, 7.2 seconds, about a 5-mile-an-hour, 5-minute clip there. Local runners did quite a job there. And a big event coming up here for you, and that is the Island.
Yeah, Labor Day weekend on Sunday. We'll be showcasing the best older horses in the country in the American Championship Series, and we're hopeful we'll have another day like this for the fans in New Jersey.
Al, again, thank you as always for the hospitality here, and have a big day for the Island.
Thanks, Chris.
Al Handel is now moving on to even more responsibilities here. Let's go now to Dave and Charleston with more on our Haskell field.
Well, one of the reasons that the Haskell is so important is because there aren't very many big stops with big money left for the 3-year-olds only. This race, then in August at Saratoga, you got the Travers, and September at Louisiana Downs, the Super Derby. That's about it for the big money.
It's the time of year for the Glamour 3-year-olds to confirm the form that they established in the Triple Crown. They've also got to defend their status against some of these emerging late bloomers that maybe weren't mature enough to have appeared in the Triple Crown.
And if you want to look back to 1975, a perfect example, a 3-year-old by the name of Wajima came here, did not compete in the Triple Crown earlier in the year, took the Haskell, and by year's end, he was 3-year-old of the year.
Well, same story today. We've got a whole mix here in the Haskell. We've got established stars. We've got Triple Crown veterans. We've got some up-and-comers. So let's look at them. It's only fitting that the Belmont and Preakness winner should be number 1. That's Hansel. He returns to the races after a 7-week vacation, carrying 126 pounds, giving away 6 to 12 pounds over a surface he may not like at a track he's never raced on.
Now, the Kentucky Derby still a mystery. He was the beaten favorite. A gigantic effort in the Preakness when he won it, and a lot of courage here winning the Belmont in a photo finish. And then we go on to Private Man, who is trained by John Hertler, who knows a good horse. He handled Slew of Gold. Remember that one? Private Man is in the contest, post 2.
Unraced at 2, here he wins the Ohio Derby, beating Rich Man, the favorite, in only the 5th start of his career. He seems to be getting better the further he goes. And another improving colt is this one, Sultry Song, who's now 2 for 2 with blinkers on, including the Long Branch Stakes right here at Monmouth.
And you know, he has a win over the racetrack, and it just might be that Sultry Song, the local star, is peaking right at the right time for a big upset. Sultry Song, the local.
Number 4, the California Invader Character, was a late scratch by trainer Bruce Jackson due to a slight ankle injury, possibly suffered while he was shipping in here for this race. Well, California may be home for this one, Corporate Report, but he's appeared at 7 different racetracks this year. He's the one who set the pace in the Preakness and the Belmont.
And take a good look at his head, because you won't see much of it in the race. He'll be wearing blinkers for the first time today. That should sharpen his early speed. And completing the field will be Lost Mountain, a horse who had, so much bad luck. Falling as a 2-year-old Saratoga, bumping into the rail twice during the Derby, but he's come back.
Well, when he does get to have a clear shot, he comes from way back, like he did here in the Dwyer Stakes, his victory last time out up in New York. In fact, all of his really good races have come in New York, Dave.
It's an excellent field, even though only 5 of them will take to the track, and Hansel is by no means a walkover. I think he's very vulnerable. Chris?
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Chelsea. Taking a look at Lost Mountain, our 6th horse, the Loblolly Stable entry here this afternoon. He's won some stakes in New York. You never know how he's going to be, but we'll find out. Getting near post time for the Haskell.
Winter sports, summer, spring, and fall. Sports, games of chance. It's all right here in New Jersey.
Down at the paddock here at Monmouth Park, where the horses for the Haskell Invitational are warming up, as we welcome you back on our Budweiser Racing Across America series. And of course, we'll have the highlights and results of not only the Haskell, but all the big races across the country every week here on ESPN, the Budweiser Thoroughbred Digest. Our prime plays Thursday nights at 6 o'clock. And there you see the one horse. That is Hansel. Frankie Brothers there, Jerry Bailey, waiting to be called for riders up here. Well, in the past 23 runnings of this Haskell Invitational, we've had 15 classic winners. 4 winners of the Derby, 4 of the Preakness, 7 who've won the Belmont. You're looking right there at another classic dual winner, Preakness and Belmont winner, Hansel. Let's feature him now. He is America's leading money-earning thoroughbred of 1991. Winner of over $2.2 million, including the $1 million Triple Crown bonus. His trainer, Frankie Brothers, reflects back on Hansel's classic campaign.
Well, he showed a lot of courage, except for the first race. That's still kind of a mystery, but the Preakness, he was just awesome. He kind of ran like we thought he could run. I mean, I thought he was a good horse from day one, you know, and I think the Belmont was probably his best race ever. He was going 1.5 miles, and I don't think he really wants to run that far, but he showed a lot of guts when that horse came to him. And of course, you know, we got the nod and he didn't, but Hansel surely could have folded his tent early, and he didn't, you know, so he showed a lot of courage there.
But reputations don't last long in thoroughbred racing, and Brothers now finds himself wondering, as Hansel prepares for today's Haskell, just how much the Spring Classics took out of the colt.
They fool you all the time, but I do think this horse has done well. I probably could have run him a couple of weeks after the Belmont, you know. At least he trained like that. And, you know, the thing, you don't want to overdo it the first race back, and you surely got to have him fit enough to run, you know, because he'll have been off 7 weeks by the time he goes to post. So there's a fine line there, but, and I haven't really gutted him, as they say, for this race. I feel like he's ready, but this is the first race back, and, you know, hopefully he does well and then goes on and picks it up after that.
Assistant trainer Pam Fitzgerald is Hansel's regular exercise rider, and she talked about how he works in the morning.
Well, it's funny because he's pretty good to gallop, but when he knows he's going to work, he really needs to go with a pony, and we've taken him with a pony most of this year. And he gets a little rank, but then once he gets away, he'll kind of do whatever you want him to do. If you want to go fast, he'll go as fast as you want.
Today, Hansel moves for the first time up into the handicap division, giving away as much as 12 pounds to this field.
The weight factor will be a little different than the last 3 races we've been in. You know, and rightfully so, he's going to be top weighted, but he's going to be given quite a bit of weight to a number of horses, and weight is the equalizer. There's no question about it. But you know, I hope for him to be forwardly placed, kind of the same strategy we've had, and I mean, there's no use changing now, you know, but the bottom line, what happens in the race, we'll have to see.
They have just called him to the post. You see the thoroughbreds heading out under the tunnel here to the racetrack here at Monmouth Park for the 24th Haskell Invitational. Hansel is 3-5. By the way, if Hansel wins today, with a special bonus that Monmouth Park put up by drawing Triple Crown horses, by winning 2 legs of the Triple Crown, he's eligible by winning the Haskell for a $200,000 bonus and a $50,000 bonus for Frankie Brothers. But Chelsea, he's got his work cut out for him.
Well, they always have their work cut out for them when they go to the post, Chris, but I'm going to have to beg to differ with Dave Johnson a little bit. Hansel might be vulnerable. He's been away from the races a long time, but he walked into this paddock looking and acting like the classic winner he is. The 7 weeks really seem to agree with him. He looks great. He's put on some weight, and Frankie says he's got him fit. And when you do the post parade, take a close look at Hansel. He's never looked better.
And you see them coming out now through the tunnel here at Monmouth Park onto the racetrack. It is a field of just 5, but as you mentioned, some real quality, multiple stakes winners, horses that have won combined over $4 million to this point. The crowd reacting now as they see their favorite corporate report, getting some support from the crowd coming through. But the one that all eyes seem to be on is the one horse leading the parade, and that, of course, is Hansel. There's a good look at Craig Perrette, outstanding rider, won many riding titles here at Monmouth Park before moving on to New York, and fame with such horses as Bet Twice and, of course, Housebuster. Let's introduce you now to the field on the track for the 1991 Haskell Invitational, and we'll start with the big horse. That, of course, we're talking about Hansel, a $150,000 Keeneland sales purchase. We've told you just about all you need to know about this one. Winner of the Preakness, winner of the Belmont, richest money earner of the year in thoroughbred racing, $2.2 million. The rider, Jerry Bailey, having a career year. 2 legs of the Triple Crown. He's had 23% winners through June, $5.8 million in earnings. The 2 horses, Private Man, $225,000 Keeneland sales purchase. Folded at Lanes End, sold at Keeneland, unraced at 2, won 3 of 5 at 3 so far. We saw him in the Ohio Derby. The winner, the rider, the young John Velasquez, 19 years old, graduate of the jockey school in Puerto Rico, just lost his bug up in New York. His mentor, the great Angel Cordero. The 3 horse, the long shot on the board at 17-1. Sultry Son, the local horse, won the Long Branch Prep race here, 3rd in the Collin, has won 3 of his last 4. The last 2 races within 6 days of each other. The rider, Nick Santagata, in the top 5 of the Monmouth standings here. Scratch the 4-horse character. Let's move to the 5-horse corporate report. A $350,000 Keeneland sales purchase. Blinkers on for the first time. This is a veteran of the Triple Crown, 9th in the Derby, 2nd to Hansel in the Preakness, 4th in the Belmont, 2nd in the swaps recently in California. The rider, one of the best, Hall of Famer Chris McCarron. He won the '89 Haskell with King Glorious. He was 2nd in '87 with Ali Sheba. Chris has a 3rd here in '86. Just visited Bill Shoemaker in Denver, Colorado. Said the shoe spirits are sky high. The 6 horses, Lost Mount from the Love Lolly stable of John Ed Anthony of Arkansas. Won the Dwyer and the Peter Pan. The most experienced in the field, going to the post for the 15th time. He was 12th in the Kentucky Derby, 7th in the Belmont. We saw him in the Jim Beam where he ran 5th there. The rider, Craig Perrette, 2-time Haskell winner, 1981 with 5-star flight, with Bet Twice here in 1987. There is the field for the 1991 Haskell Invitational. We'll be back with more of our story as you look at the man on the bubble right now, Jerry Bailey. The pressure's on him with the favorite, Hansel. Live at Monmouth Park, Budweiser racing across America. Welcome you back to the Haskell. The fans coming to the rail here. 8 minutes to post. And with us now is our friend Steve Schwartz with the Racing Times. Steve, can they beat the favorite Hansel today?
I don't think so. He's going to be real tough. The track might give him a little problem, but he's going to be tough.
Let's go inside the Racing Times now, Steve, with some of the unique figures and information here and kind of give us a rundown, some of your thoughts.
Well, we've got a couple of things with the Racing Times. You'll notice that line which indicates that Hansel hasn't had a start in 45 days. The good news is he's trained well at Arlington, and also he's been shipped here to Monmouth and worked well over the track. His speed numbers, 111 and 116, are far superior to anything in the field today. Even if he's 80% of the horse he was before, he's going to be tough. His career record also indicates he hasn't been off the board on a wet track. With the Racing Times, we point that out to all our readers. Private Man also, who's got a good shot in this today, is also 2 for 2 on a wet track. Lost Mountain's lines show us something about this horse. He's had a troubled career. Back at the Breeders' Cup, he stumbled badly after the start, and then even in his winning race in the Peter Pan, he was taken back at the start. Any kind of luck today might put him right in the race. 1 point, you'll notice his buyer speed figures of 102 and 104. They're comparable to the rest of the field. They're just not good enough against Hansel.
All right, we come to the scary part of the program. Now asking you to pick the winner.
Well, I think it's going to be Hansel. I think Private Man will be right there, too.
I say for Racing Times credibility, don't worry about that. But this is the man who's been known as the Mortician. Steve?
Here's your chance to come back to life today.
Let's talk about this seminars real quickly. You were a host here today. Big seminars going on daily at Saratoga.
Yeah, up at Saratoga, they're doing them every morning with the breakfast program. Today, Keith Hustel, our handicap, has already given out 6 winners today, and the Mortician gave him 5.
All right, chalk players across America, take a look at these odds. These are Steve Schwartz odds. Here's an update now on the odds for the Haskell. Hansel 3 to 5, Private Man at 5 to 1, Sultry Song at 16, Character at scratch from the field, Corporate Report 3 to 1, Lost Mountain at 9 to 2. Now something Steve Schwartz has never known anything about. A long shot, the Budweiser long shot.
Half of today's field are Budweiser long shot alumni. Private Man, Corporate Report, and Lost Mountain. Now, Corporate Report will be too low on the tote board today, so from the remaining pair, we've selected Private Man. Private Man has been successful in the Bud long shot role, capturing the Ohio Derby in his last start at better than 7 to 1. With regular rider John Velazquez aboard, Private Man displayed a determined stretch drive that carried him past the multiple stakes winner Richmond. Trainer John Hertler may have a good one on his hands in Private Man, who also has history on his side. The last 2 winners of the Haskell also came to Monmouth from the Ohio Derby. So, with a winning pattern for the Haskell firmly established, let's go for an encore. Private Man, today's Budweiser long shot.
And there is Private Man warming up on the backside of the racetrack here. And we will now take a look at the odds for the 2-horse. He is at 5 to 1. Wouldn't be a bad return on his short field. We'll be right back.
Beaches, mountains, rivers, lakes and streams, history past and present, fun and excitement, day and night. It's all right here in New Jersey.
Welcome back to Monmouth Park. You're looking live again at Hansel, the 3 to 5 favorite for the Haskell Invitational. Charles C. Kenty has now joined me here. Charles C., time to take a look at the course and talk some strategy here for the Haskell.
Well, first of all, we need to point out once again that this is a handicap, and Hansel is carrying the classic top weight of 126 pounds. He's got to carry it around this 1 mile Monmouth Park racetrack. We're going 1 1/8 miles, so of course they start at the 8th pole. Nothing unusual about this track. What's probably more important here today is track condition. It's been upgraded from muddy to good. Hansel was beaten here last year in the sapling as the favorite on and off track. But there is some speed up front for him to run at. Corporate Report will surely be on the lead. Hansel will probably be tucked in somewhat behind him. And then we'll have Private Man, Sultry Song, probably in right close to Hansel, and then Lost Mountain bringing up the rear. Short field, not a lot of room to get in trouble, but anytime there's more than 1 horse, Chris, you can get in trouble.
Taking a look at the records, the stakes record 147, bet twice in Majestic Light, by the way, the sire of Light Light, and track record 146 and 4, maybe New Jersey's all-time favorite, Spend a Buck, the winner here in 1985. We mentioned Corporate Report. Chelsea getting some support here. The second choice at 3-1. There you see him in the Overbrook Farm, the white silks with the blue bullseye and ring. Karen McLaughlin, the assistant trainer for Dwayne Lucas, talked about Wayne's decision for an equipment change. Blinkers on today.
Wayne's felt like he's been waiting on horses a little bit, so we'll add blinkers, which will probably add a little speed to him, which he doesn't really need. He's got plenty of natural speed, and Hansel lays close and put a lot of pressure on us early in the Belmont, so, you know, I don't know that we'll get away from him, but this track is very much favors speed, so he should run very well.
He'll be tough with the speed advantage, but remember that Corporate Report got no vacation while this horse, Hansel, had a 7-week break.
Handicap weight's a factor. Chelsea mentioned the high weight right there. Hansel at 126 pounds. He's giving 6 to 12 pounds to this field. Trainer Frankie Brothers thinks it might be a factor here. Also keep in mind he is really aiming the big prize, the $1 million Travers in August at Saratoga. They approach the gate, and we go to Dave Johnson now.
5. And they're ready to move into line. Corporate Reporter's horse, I think, will pull the upset here this afternoon. If he's ever going to win one of these big races, it'll be today. Chris McCarron, who won this race with King Glorious in 1989, is aboard. I'm not the only one rooting for this one. I know that Chris's father is up on Cape Cod vacationing, and I'm sure he's watching today. There's Private Man in line, the 2-horse. Had to put the hood on him, the blindfold, in order to get him into the gate because he's such a bad actor. Now the local star, Sultry Song with Nick Santagata, washing out just a bit. Scratch character. That brings us to Corporate Report, who will probably zip right out of the gate. Lost Mountain will be on the outside. Craig Perrette, only one of 2 jockeys to have won the Haskell twice. Perrette took this race with Bet twice in one of the most fantastic races ever run at this shore track, and he also won it 10 years ago at 5-Star Flight. We're all set. 5 of them in the Haskell. And they're off. A clean start, and from the outside, there goes Corporate Report. Hansel along the inside showing speed. From between horses, Sultry Song is right there, and Private Man takes back with Lost Mountain at the back of the pack. Corporate Report, as expected, has the lead. Along the inside, Hansel right there in saving ground in the 2nd spot. And the local star, Sultry Song, on the outside is 3rd at this point. It's 4.5 back to the Bud Long shot. Private Man racing 4th, followed on the outside by Lost Mountain. They swing around the turn the first quarter in a quick 22-4 for this off track. And as they straighten away down the backstretch, Corporate Report has the lead by a length and 3/4. Sultry Song on the outside battles with Hansel toward the rail. Then it's 4 back, and Private Man is racing in 4th at this point, and Lost Mountain at the back of the pack, but only about 8.5 lengths off the leader. The half-mile time, 46 seconds. Near the half-mile pole, it's still Corporate Report who's trying to stretch his speed the entire distance of the Haskell, showing the way by a length and 3/4. McCarron looked under his right arm and saw that Sultry Song on the outside was 2nd. Hansel at the rail now speeds up and takes the runner-up spot. Sultry Song dropping back, and Lost Mountain is on the move, closing stoutly. Private Man at the back of the pack. Now Corporate Report leads by 3.5. Hansel is 2nd. Here comes Lost Mountain between horses. Lost Mountain with a big move takes the 2nd spot as the field turns for home. Corporate Report feels the sting of the whip. In front by 2. Lost Mountain is 2nd, and far back. It's 5.5 back to Hansel, who is not firing today. Looks like it's going to be a 2-horse race to the wire, and Corporate Report has the lead. But here comes Lost Mountain on the outside, and down the stretch they come. Here's the finish of the Haskell. Too tight to call on the outside. Lost Mountain, I believe, was there up in time. Craig Perrette aboard, and on the inside, Corporate Report a close 2nd, but it's unofficial. Lost Mountain and Corporate Report in a photo finish in 1:48. Hansel a far back 3rd. Chris?
Dave, it was like being here in 1988. We saw that great duel with 49er and Seeking the Gold. It was so close. Lost Mountain on the outside in the brown and yellow silks of Lolly Farm. On the inside in the white silks of Overbrook Farm was Corporate Report. Hansel just did not have it today. Even on the backside, it looked like he wasn't going to make it. In fact, we saw Jerry Bill like he tried to check him, trying to get some running room on the inside going to the first turn. The photo sign is up. The big story is Hansel, the 1-2 finally going off, was beaten. Chelsea, take us home with it.
Corporate Report did as expected with the blinkers on. He went to the lead 22-4 and 46 for the first half mile. Hansel ran up on the inside of him, had no room, was checked, and then steadily dropped back thereafter. Lost Mountain for once gets clear sailing. He came from last. had no trouble and closes ground fast on a pace that's set up perfectly and just gets there at the wire. He wins it.
Very close. You're looking at Lost Mountain, but remember the angle can fool you here. It looked like Lost Mountain on the outside with Craig Perrette. We're going to wait for this photo. Take a look again as they hit the wire. Awfully close. Looks like 6-5. The Flowers have gone over the Withers. The unofficial winner, and the crowd roars at the Haskell Invitational. Coming to the winner's circle is Lost Mountain, owned by John and Anthony's Lob Lolly Stable. He owns the sire Cox's Ridge. The dam is Space Angel, bred in partnership with Lob Lolly Stable by Alec Hockner Jr. Winner of the Dwyer, the Peter Pan, and unofficially of the Haskell, Craig Perrette makes history today. The first three-time winner of the Haskell. 1981, 5-star flight. 1987, bet twice. And 1991, Lost Mountain. Dave Johnson has a look now at just how he did it, and at a very trouble trip for our favorite Hansel, who unofficially finished third today.
Well, let's take a look at the first turn where Hansel got in all kinds of trouble. There's Hansel in the green and yellow blocks behind the 5-horse Corporate Report. On the outside is the local star Sultry Song. Now at this point, Bailey has to check with the high weight. Hansel carrying 126 pounds. Remember, it's awfully hard to get a horse who's carrying that much back in gear. And Hansel, who is usually on the outside, had to use so much of his speed to get back in the race. Corporate Report flying on the front end. Hansel trapped in on the rail there. Now as they turn for home, Corporate Report with McCarran carrying 120 pounds, set sail for home. He had set some unusually quick fractions for the track being off. He reached the half in 46 3/4 in 1:10. And Lost Mountain, gaining with every stride through the stretch, was in front only one time in today's 1 1/8 contest, and it was, of course, the most important time. Corporate Report on the inside, Lost Mountain carrying 2 pounds less on the outside, and it's going to be Lost Mountain with Craig Perrette, the king of the hill, the king of Monmouth Park, and the scene of so much of his early success, and a raised whip. Craig Perrette knew he won it. Corporate Report on the inside, second, Hansel third. Chris?
Well, there's a happy John Ed Anthony there with Craig Perrette and with the widow of Amory Haskell. That is Blanche Haskell to present the Haskell Invitational Trophy. And they have now made it official here at Monmouth Park. There's trainer Tom Bohannon on the outside with Mr. and Mrs. John Ed Anthony there. And they've got to be very pleased with this son of Cox's Ridge. John Ed Anthony's got to feel very fortunate. He won a coin flip with a co-breeder of this with Lost Mountain. He had a coin flip, and Mr. Hockner had a chance to take the first fall, Space's Angel, who won nearly $100,000. Meanwhile, John and Anthony got the second fall in the pole sharing. That happened to be Lost Mountain. Lost Mountain has now, with $300,000 today, gone over the $790,000 mark in earnings. Now they're dancing in the Ozarks of Arkansas. Lost Mountain Lob Lolly Stable officially has won the 1991 Haskell Invitational. The time 1:48. Lost Mountain returning 13.60, 482.20. Very generous return for this two-time stakes winner in a very short field. Corporate Report running second by just ahead, $4, 220. And the favorite Hansel, a very disappointing third today, 210. The 6.5 exacta, $60. Charles C. Kenny now in the winner's circle with the first three-time winner of this race.
Well, the crowd gathered around the winner's circle here, hollering at Craig Perrette, said, Craig, this is your racetrack. Welcome home. And what a big way to come back to Jersey.
It's really nice to come here and win. You know, I got a lot of rooters here, and everywhere I go, I hear them cheer for me. But when I come here, I get a warm welcome, and when you can win their best race of the year right here, that's a nice feeling.
And when you pay $13.60 to do it, let's look at how you did it. Lost Mountain, of course, having no speed is evidenced by some very dirty silks here. There you are last.
You know, we was in no hurry with him. We decided that we wasn't going to change his tactics. He's been very effective settling, coming late, and the race, we was just hoping it would set up real good in the front for us, where it would give him his best opportunity. But right about here, you can see when I give him a little cue to go on, he started picking his horses up nice and handy, and I knew he was going to finish hard. And when I got inside these horses and got by Hansel, I knew he was going to come that last eighth of a mile hard at him, and he got up and win. I was really proud of him.
Were you aware that the first half mile had gone as snappy as it had 46 flat?
Well, like I said, I was hoping it would develop to a fast pace because I couldn't change no tactics with my horse. Trying to worry about a slow pace and making him move sooner. If they're going too fast, they're going to get away from him. If they're going real slow, he's going to be closer.
All right, and now it's a chase right here. Did you know you had dead aim?
Right here, I knew when I hit my horse and he took off after him. I was just hoping I could, you know, the wire wouldn't come up too soon. But right here, I knew he had him then.
All right, it looks like old times for Lob Lolly Stable with the brown and yellow colors. Daddy Cox's Ridge used to run like that and come in at the end late, and Johnette Anthony, I'm sure, is enjoying that. Chris?
Well, that he is, Charles C. And before we have a chance to talk to owner Johnette Anthony, the trainer Tom Bohannon, we are going to take a commercial break here as you're looking at the winner of the 91 Haskell Lost Mountain, $300,000. First prize for this big race this afternoon. Back at Monmouth Park and the Lost Mountains Haskell. He's the official winner here, and I'm with the trainer Tom Bohannon, owner Johnette Anthony. We'll excuse Mr. Anthony here, go across to Tom Bohannon, the trainer. He has been a horse that's been kind of frustrating, but seemed to always have an excuse in the race. Today, everything went well.
It did. He got a clean trip. Everything seemed to go his way. He got to lay back off the pace and run at the speed, and everything seemed to turn out just fine today.
John Ed, what's next?
Well, we'll have to try the big boys again, I guess. We'll go to Saratoga and see what happens in the Travers.
You always name your horse after something in Arkansas. Lost Mountain?
Well, Lost Mountain is a prominent ridge mountain in the Ouachita Mountains near my hometown, and I've had a lot of luck with ridges and mountains, and I want to stay with them.
Thank you much. By the way, John Anthony also told me that a girl who exercised Cox's Ridge, his sire, was Charles C. Candy. Dave?
Well, I'm up on top of the roof with Steve Schwartz, and a great story is that this horse almost didn't run.
Well, as late as sixth race this afternoon until they won the race with Traskwood, they considered scratching this horse unless the track had changed, so they decided to go on with him.
It is the second season, though.
It certainly is. I think Hansel can still go on from this one, and now you got a real new shooter here with Lost Mountain also.
Thank you, Steve. Back to you, Chris.
All right, and we're going to go quickly to that former exercise rider of that old stallion Cox's Ridge. Here's Charles C. Candy.
You all are dating me. I just want to point out that we've got an ongoing arch rivalry here with Strike the Gold. Hansel will be back, so tomorrow is the Jim Dandy, which sets everything up for the Travers. So the 3-year-old story isn't over yet. Chris?
And the focus switches to Saratoga, and it does for us as well here on ESPN. A week from today, we'll be at the famous spa in upstate New York to bring you coverage of the Whitney Handicap. Join us 1 week from today, 6 to 7 Eastern Time. On ESPN, coming up on Sunday morning, early Sunday morning here, we'll be taking you for Formula One racing to Germany, the Grand Prix of Germany at 7:50 a.m. Eastern Time. Hope you've enjoyed our coverage this afternoon, including looking at the Woodbine Budweiser Breeders' Cup, where Radiant Ring won that. And in the test, the big filly test up in Saratoga today, Versailles Treaty was the winner. The big favorite Aurora failed to hit the board. And here, Lost Mountain wins the 1991 Haskell Invitational at Monmouth Park on the Jersey Shore, brought to you by Budweiser. Nothing beats the excitement of horse racing, and nothing beats a Bud. By DeBartolo Racing, leading the way to the 21st century. By the Thoroughbred Racing Associations, assuring the highest racing standards. And by the New Jersey Division of Travel and Tourism. For information, call 1-800-4-JERSEY-7. Ground transportation provided by Thrifty Car Rental.